Everyone's asking the wrong question about AI and art. They ask, can AI create real art? They ask, will AI replace human artists? They ask, is AI generated content truly creative? But Brandon Sanderson, the fantasy author who sold over 30 million books, just flipped the entire debate on its head. He said, I don't care if AI can create something better than what we can create. Wait, what? The guy who makes his living from creative work doesn't care if AI can do it better. Let me explain why this might be the most important thing anyone has said about AI and creativity. Sanderson starts with an unexpected comparison. Star Trek's Commander Data. For those who don't know, Data is an android, an artificial being who desperately wants to understand humanity. Throughout the series, Data paints, he writes poetry, he plays violin. But here's the key insight. Data doesn't create art because he wants to produce art. He creates art because he wants to grow, he wants to become something, he wants to understand. This is fundamentally different from how current AI models work. When ChatGPT writes a poem, it's not trying to understand anything. It's pattern matching against billions of examples, predicting what words should come next. When Midjourney generates an image, it's not growing as an entity. It processes the prompt, produces the output, and moves on, unchanged. Data wanted to become more human through art. Current AI has no such aspiration. It has no aspiration at all. Here's where Sanderson drops his most profound insight. The book, the painting, the film script is not the only art. It's important, but in a way it's a receipt, it's a diploma. Think about that. The finished work, the thing we hang on walls, put on shelves, stream on screens, that's just the receipt. It's proof that you did the work. It's evidence of a transformation that already happened. You are the art, Sanderson says. The most important change made by artistic endeavor is the change it makes in you. When you write a novel, you spend months, maybe years, living with characters. You make decisions about who they are, what they want, what they fear. And in doing so, you discover things about yourself. When you learn to paint, you train your eyes to see light differently. You start noticing colors you never saw before. The world literally looks different to you. When you compose music, you develop an internal sense of rhythm and harmony that changes how you hear everything: birdsong, traffic, conversations. The artwork is just the diploma that proves you went through this transformation. And here's the devastating punchline for AI. I don't care if the AI can create something that is better than what we can create because it cannot be changed by that creation. Let's be precise about what this means technically. When an AI model generates an image, the weights in the neural network don't change. The model that created your image is exactly the same as it was before. It processes input, produces output, and remains static. Yes, there's fine-tuning. Yes, there's training on new data, but that's done by engineers on servers in batch processes. The act of creating a single piece of art does not change the AI. Compare this to a human artist. Every brushstroke teaches something. Every failed attempt builds intuition. Every completed work shifts your perspective, even slightly. Human creativity is fundamentally a growth process. AI generation is fundamentally a production process. This isn't a criticism of AI, it's just a description of how these systems work. But it does explain why the question, can AI make real art, might be missing the point entirely. The question assumes art is about the output. Sanderson is arguing art is about the process of becoming. So what does this mean for us, people living in a world where AI can generate images, write code, compose music, and produce videos? First, stop feeling guilty about not being as productive as AI. That was never the point. The point of learning to draw isn't to produce drawings efficiently, it's to become someone who sees the world differently. Second, use AI as a tool, but don't skip the learning. If you use AI to generate all your code without understanding it, you're getting the diploma without the education. You're unchanged. Third, reconsider what creative work means. Maybe the goal isn't to produce more content, maybe it's to become more ourselves. Sanderson isn't saying AI art is worthless. He's saying the value of human art was never primarily in the artifact, it was in the transformation. Brandon Sanderson gave us something rare, a framework for thinking about AI and creativity that doesn't depend on whether AI gets better. Even if AI can paint the Mona Lisa, write the next great novel, compose symphonies that move us to tears, none of that changes the fundamental value of human creative work. Because the question was never who can make better art. The question is who are you becoming? And only you can answer that. Follow Nanhara deep dive into AI every week.